Thank you for clicking on the next video in our series about student engagement. Now that we're armed with a little bit better understanding of what attention is, I'd like to discuss with you some interesting findings from some various different research that I'm familiar with. First, you will see a chart here in the slide, and you will notice that we have attention spans, which is in kind of the vertical axis, and we have years represented in the horizontal axis of the graph here on the slide. Attention spans in 1830 were around 8.5 hours, and I attribute that to things like Chautauquas, to long sort of days where there would be many public speeches with regard to political candidates. There were, very long and kind of drawn out plays. In fact, as late as the 1930s, a formal sit-down dinner was something that took approximately 4 hours to conclude. As a result of that, we had a lot longer attention span, and we were able to dialogue with one another in a much more luxurious and kind of time-consumptive sort of way. And subsequently, we were able to attend to one another in a much more detailed sort of way. As our lives have become more technologically complex, and by the way, that data is from a book entitled "Amusing Ourselves to Death" by Neil Postman. And as our technology has progressed, as we develop things like radio and television and the internet and cell phones, we've seen a precipitous and dramatic decrease in our attention spans. And in fact, some recent research that was conducted in 2008 by some researchers at Simon Fraser University indicated that when you are attempting to get an audience's attention, their active attention span when they're determining whether or not they're going to listen to you and pay attention to you is around 9 seconds. It's less than 10 seconds. Some interesting research that's being done about web pages and retinal tracking of individuals who are logging onto web pages indicates that web pages have about 2 seconds to catch the attention of someone who's visited a web page. So we see that there's been a dramatic decrease in our attention span, and some additional educational research indicates that individuals who are conducting traditional lectures must use some attention-getting device or attention-keeping device every 2.5 to 3 minutes to engage their audiences or to engage their learners. So that naturally leads to the question, well, what is an attention-keeping device? And I would say that an attention-keeping device is one of the devices that we're going to talk about in a couple of slides. Here's some research about attention spans in terms of online video. And as you can see, at around 10 seconds, 90 or so people are still paying attention. At around the 5-minute mark, only 10% of people are continuing to attend to your video. So what we have here are the factors of keeping and gaining attention, and these are some things that I emphasize in my public speaking class, and these are some things that I try to take with me into every lecture experience that I have with students. Some of the ones that I found to be the most important in terms of lecturing to students involve the factors of keeping and gaining attention of activity and proximity. If you stay behind the lectern, if you constantly kind of use that as a shield between you and your learners, what you're going to find is that they're all playing around on their phones underneath the table. They're all doing, a bunch of things other than paying attention to you and to what you're attempting to share with them. The other important ones that I think that are absolutely essential for good lecturing are conflict and stories. Humans are hardwired to listen to stories. In fact, according to Jerry Spence, How to Argue and Win Every Time, stories are the fundamental organizational tool of all thought and knowledge of humans for the past several millennia. We are hardwired to pay attention to stories. Tell stories in your lectures and you will be an engaging lecturer. In addition to that, we're also hardwired to pay attention to conflict, and that is because conflict has the possibility to hurt us. The most provocative word ever spoken in any middle school anywhere is the word fight. Your discipline has conflict. Psychologists, computer scientists, educators differ with one another. bring that conflict into your lecture. Animate your subject material with that conflict, and you will find that your classes are much more compelling.